Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day because he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Meta AR glasses. Well, the prototypes are finally being revealed, with a lot of people thinking all the hype is here. Will it change the world, or will it be another flop like Google Glass was, what was it, almost a decade ago, when a lot of people just said, well, we're going to call those nerd goggles. And Apple said, we're going to have our own VR. It's going to cost $4,000 plus, and about 18 people bought them. And they appreciated them, I suppose. Kind of. Now, this comes to us thanks to the OG search engine Yahoo Finance specifically, in which they say, quote, all eyes are on Meta's smart glasses, but questions persist over the secretive AR project. Now, this is actually by Yasmin Karam, who's a writer over there. I see Facebook's financials still not making not a lot of money from this idea, but they're rolling the dice. There you can see a picture of those new, very innovative, awesome pieces of tech. Not at all nerd goggles, as some might call them. Now, they say, quote, halfway through the keynote speech during Meta Connect event last Wednesday, Vice President of Augmented Reality Alex Himmel walked on the stage with a briefcase handcuffed to his wrist. He says, and then Mark Zuckerberg says, quote, this is Orion, which used to be an old defunct, I believe it was actually a movie publisher back in the day, but I think it's the 80s, partially digress. And he says, quote, our first fully functioning prototype, and if I do say so, the most advanced glasses on the world has ever seen. He's hyping it up. They quote, investors finally got a sneak peek of the moonshot from the money-losing Reality Labs division inside Meta. The project has been shrouded in secrecy after nearly a decade of development and billions of dollars in research and build. It also arrives as Wall Street increasingly questions the spending at the division as burned through. Geez Louise. Facebook has spent $50 billion on that division since 2020, which is quite a pretty penny. Granted, Facebook, or more accurately said, the Facebook, they need to evolve because, again, there's a platform, while exceedingly, great, profitable, investors love it. A lot of people log on every day to check the Facebook, to hear the stories, like the stuff, and all that kind of stuff. But they are at risk of worrying about, well, is TikTok going to take our market? Are users going to go somewhere else? How can we diversify our portfolio, keep growing as a company? So, it does make sense to rolling the dice, trying to make sure they continue to expand and push themselves. But yeah, investors might get a little concerned. $50 billion, and what's the ROI? How much have we made from this, Mark? Now, they say Zuckerberg hopes that Orion can bridge the gap between the digital and real world and eventually replace smartphones, but its debut may be further away than Meta bulls think. There you see actually let's pull up those numbers here. There you can see Meta income loss from operations and revenue by segment quarterly. And the profit, oh geez. So in all the family apps, you see, yeah, let's see. Since 2022, negative 2 point, say on average about 3 billion a year they're losing negative with Reality Labs. And the family of apps is, again, the Facebook, the Instagram, as well as what else do they buy out? Do they buy out the WhatsApp? I forget, but nevertheless, those are between 11 billion, geez, 21 billion in Q4 2023. Jeez Louise, that's ridiculously good. And by revenue, you can see, yeah, it's all, I mean, if you squint, or if you looked in with a magnifying glass, you'd see a sliver of some revenue from the Reality Labs. But again, it's not, I don't even think it's even 1% right here. But yeah, you can see the fiscal numbers are not looking good. Now they say, quote, Meta had previously argued it's targeting 2027 to begin shipping its long-range AR glasses. Yet several insiders who work at the company building the Orion exclusively told Yahoo Finance that despite the product being magical and precious, it may never hit customers' hands or return to the market or make a return investment for Meta. That's a nice way of saying they're going to lose money on that for a long time and never make any money at all. They quote, according to two former engineers who are now to the project, the initial goal was to build approximately 1,000 units, which quickly turned into only a few hundred. Out of these, people familiar with the project estimate that fewer than 20 actually turn on and show a quality image, taking the quality or average cost of just working prototypes to hundreds of thousands of dollars, which, yeah, it's not great. Zuckerberg's expectation was for some of the material used to build Orion to drop in price over the last several years. That didn't happen, as had hoped, partially due to trade restrictions, meaning some of the materials will have to be changed for future versions to be financially sustainable. They consider saying, quote, they don't know whether the technology will work and whether it'll ever work in the price point everyone can afford, said a former lead engineer who has not to be identified. He continued saying, quote, right now they don't have the material that they can make at a reasonable price point. They say that the Orion is actually, now this is a unique thing about this, because again, we've had these, nerd goggles for nerd glasses before, which I only partially jest. There's a lot of business applications where it does absolutely, you can see it making sense. Especially when I look at, well, my perspective, I'm a tech company, we work a little bit of work in the data centers, which remember, there's no such thing as a cloud, it's just someone else's computer. But you could have someone who maybe isn't traditionally trained, or they have to be an IT expert, but if they have the glasses on, you could actually, you could teach them to do some things that do need to be done manually on the physical hardware that there is. Again, I mean, everyone says software of the future, and it is, but remember, the hardware is somewhere, and it does take maintenance. So I could see them, as well as other applications where there's telecom installs, and maybe it gets to the point where you can actually have, like, if you're set up a router or something like that else, depending on the complexity, you could actually have someone from the company just tell you how to do it with your own glasses. And then in terms of social, I'm sure people love to record each other and, have the augmented things. I'm not saying there's no business use case for this. I just debate how many years until it's socially and culturally acceptable in the United States. And again, how do you get that price point down to its affordable to average American? I mean, half the reason people joke about the Apple augmented AR goggles, whatever they actually call them, or the Vision Pro Banana Falcon, is because it's comically it's overpriced for what I consider. It's a price of a used car. What was it, like $4,000 plus the Apple Care and all other stuff you got to bolt onto that thing? I mean, especially, I know I say it a lot on the show, but in this economy, because again, unprecedented economical and political uncertainty, a lot of people are not buying luxury items. So that's why I think the Apple Vision Pro isn't doing so well these days, because again, it's a toy at the moment with some business applications. Now, again, the very unique thing about the Facebook's idea, so not only do they have the glasses, but it's three parts. So they also have a wristband as well as a puck. What is this? That powers the device graphics and connectivity. The puck is referred to as the central compute. People familiar with the project said, which help me think, what is that also called? Oh yeah, hotspot, which again, I'm sure also does other things as well. They say its cheap materials are silicon carbide, waveguide sandwiched between two protective lenses, 7 cameras, geez Louise, that is quite a few, and 2 micro LED projectors, custom silicon, one of the most expensive parts of the project. Yeah, they keep saying they're estimating it costs around $10,000, which, again, over time, you can usually decrease the cost per unit with manufacturing, but gosh, that is a huge price point. Now, some businesses might buy that for the aforementioned, what I was previously talking about. They might invest in that. But if you really want to sell a huge volume of units and really, cliche to say, but make a dent in the universe in volume, you need to slash that down to a tenth of that. Now, Zuckerberg said he's aware of the challenges. He ended his keynote by saying they're focused on key changes being made to the Orion before it goes to consumers. He said, quote, for now, I think the right way to look at the Orion at this time is a time machine. These glasses exist. They are awesome, and they are a glimpse of the future, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting. Which, yeah, looking at the finances, they say not doing great. See, Reality Labs lost, 16.1 billion in 2023 alone, according to the company's filings, which contributed to less than, so they did get some revenues. They're making some money in these labs, 2 billion. So they spent 16.1 billion, and they made $2 billion. So again, they're negative 14 14 million. About, they say, by comparison, the company's family of apps segment includes the Facebook, the Instagram, and the WhatsApp, pulled in 62.9 billion in profits. So yeah. Again, every company is worried. No one wants to be Atari. No one wants to be the company that didn't innovate and go to the next project or come out with the next product. Because again, there are some companies where you think there's no way they go out of business, and yet time and time again, history has shown they do in fact go out of business. I mean, in terms of my generation, one of the best examples in history would be Sears, which, I mean, at one point, Sears had such a large presence in retail, they OEM'd everything. They had Sears branded. I mean, they actually launched some of the most successful companies we know today, like Discover Credit Card, which subsequently last year was sold to Capital One. You also have Allstate, the insurance company. There are a lot, Craftsman Tools. And Sears at one point, their mail order was so successful in terms of a portfolio of products. Actually, I grew up in a Sears house. They actually sold kits for a house. You buy the kit from Sears. It came with the instructions and materials. Then you and yourself or your contractor to actually build a house. They had a Sears car, for Christ's sakes, like everything. No one thought anyone would challenge that business ever. And now, I mean, Kmart subsequently bought them out, or kind of they merged together. And now the last big Kmart closed last week, or the announcement that it was going to be closed last week. They actually ending the official close date will be in October, but now Sears is basically nothing. And for most of us, I mean, it'll soon be all to just be a distant memory. So I definitely understand that Facebook needs to consistently invest in new technologies. They don't want to be left behind and become Sears or Yahoo, which Yahoo, another story for another time. But I wonder how many years will it take for this segment of the company to become profitable, and is it truly the future for the Facebook, or as they call it now, Meta? And out of curiosity, would you ever buy some of these augmented reality glasses? I mean, there are a lot of options out there. Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I really appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make sure better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.